mean, you're a fuckwit, clearly.
Yes. Yes. That's what I want to hear.
And I don't respect you as a coach.
And you're also a
Yeah.
fuckwit. But I kind of respect you as a coach. Kind of. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Bulletproof for BJJ podcast. Can you do pull-ups? Strength basics. Now, for a lot of you out there, you may have never done a pull-up. Some of you might be able to do a lot. It is absolutely fundamental for your upper body strength, for grappling. You need to be able to do pull-ups, and we're going to dissect how you can go from none to plenty.
Some.
and the best way to do that.
You know what's funny about the pull-up? I was chatting with Dilch, one of the guys who trains me in the mornings, and strong human.
Yep.
And we're doing weighted pull-ups at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. And we were just lamenting how weighted pull-ups are hard, but unweighted pull-ups are also hard. Like I can do a pull-up with 15 kilos for reps, but then I take the weight off, and even just 5 reps at body weight, I'm like, these are just always hard.
Yeah, gravity will get you. And I definitely say that if you are a higher calorie human, as I am, it makes it way harder. If you're a skinny human...
That bastard he meant to say.
I did not say that. I did not say that. Some of you consume more calories than others. I'm with you. And it's just how it is. It's harder. You got to fight gravity. But
it's true. Larger body mass humans are at a disadvantage when it comes to body weight strength.
Right.
Smaller humans, more efficient.
Yeah, it is. And if you look at people who have amazing upper body strength, whether they be your bar stars type crew, they always wear long pants.
Oh, yeah.
It's very rare you find somebody who's got immense upper body strength and then can go squat 200 kilos.
Yeah.
You know, like that's a tough, it's a tough juggle.
Calisthenics crew traditionally are just pin legs.
They don't have the legs.
I told you, I mean, when I used to hang out with the guys at Bondi Beach doing the calisthenics, this is for people who are not in this part of the world, it's like Bondi's an iconic beach here in Sydney.
It's like the Long Beach of, you know, like Gold's Gym, you know, like
it's got that
touristy,
vibe.
A lot of tourists go there.
But yeah, so the calisthenics area is huge, and it has quite a rich calisthenics culture there. And the guys there used to do rope climbing, and they'd hang the rope off the cliff at the north head of the beach, and climb up. And I only did it a few times. Now there's some fucking savages there.
Yes,
I'm talking world record holding rope climbers.
Yep.
And often, what I saw them do the day that I went to climb, I only went to climb there I think once or twice. They'd do these like. They'd go up, boom, to the top, no legs, right? Back down to the bottom, not touch the ground, go up again. And it was like, how many reps can you do?
Oh my
right?
God.
Which is gnarly. And then they would superset that with bodyweight squats.
Oh.
And they do like bodyweight squats, like 15 of them. And like hips not even getting, like not even horizontal thigh.
Ridiculous.
And like being like, ooh, the legs are burning. And I'm like, whoa, something's really disproportionate here. Like, it's elite on the rope, and then we're doing like
no squats.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look, for those of you out there, look, rope climbing is the next level up on pull-ups. So let's rewind a little bit. So for those of you out there, what you may have seen a lot of is people, like even like a guy like Dave Goggins, who's at one stage had a world record. He's just pulling up until his chin is above the bar. Now that's cool.
Often how it's defined, isn't it?
Yeah, just chin above bar, because that's the easiest way to measure, right? But what we like to do is we like to get people to a point where they can do a chest to bar, because that indicates a certain amount of health in the shoulder as well. Like you've got a certain amount of range of motion, and it's that last little bit to go from like here to there is like a world of difference.
Yeah.
So if you're hearing this and you're like, I can't even do one pull-up, so that's fine. Let's talk about how we can get you from not doing any to getting your first couple, because I think that once you kind of, because that's been Ray's journey, right? She went from like no pull-ups to she can do 5
chin-ups.
Chin-ups, sorry. Yep. So let's be clear on that. Chin-up is the supinated grip.
Yep.
Pull-up is a pronated grip, so your palms are facing away from you, not towards you.
Yeah.
Which is harder. Chin-up is easier because you can access more of the bicep, a bit easier through the lat. Pull-up, it's much more upper back strength, much tougher.
Yeah, maybe before we dive in there, could we just give a bit of context about like the role of pulling strength?
Yeah.
Like, so for folks who are less initiated with the whole strength thing, the ability to pull load is kind of like a basic human function. It's something that your body's very well designed for. If you look at how much muscle's on the back of the body, this kind of indicate, like think about when you see those Dagestani wrestling highlight clips that I know you've been watching. You see those and you look at their backs and you're like, oh my God, they got lats like wings, like these huge.
Yeah.
And it's because wrestling and grappling generally is very pull heavy, right? It's very squeeze dominant. Now, if we think about like that's the pull and then there's push. So there's kind of these two basic actions if we really simplify things. So one, your body needs to do pulling work. Two, your sport demands that you have a strong pull and a strong squeeze. So then we think, all right, well, I need to do pulling work. So if we're looking at pull-ups and chin-ups and like related exercises, these are really fundamental to your strength development.
Yes.
Aren't they? Now, people struggle with them, obvious reasons, right? It's hard. But if we're looking at like payoff, like or bang for buck, as you like to put it, JT, you got to say that like chasing a pull-up or chasing more or weighted pull-up, whatever, it pays off so much in terms of like athletic development and like jiu-jitsu strength, but also like posture and like muscular growth and all those things.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what people are probably underestimating is, you know, it's been said before, no grip, no fight. The first thing that goes is your grip. So like whether you're getting fatigued in jiu-jitsu or like pull-ups, generally for most people, it's they can't hold on to the bar. And so if you want to develop killer grip, the simple thing is to spend more time hanging your body weight off those grips. And we do have hanging as part of our program, and that's like an essential part of the way you need to train your body. But what people are not appreciating is, say, versus, you know, plenty of people start by doing like dumbbell rows or cable rows, things like this. And that's a good place to start. The amount of stress that goes through your tendons and ligaments when you're hanging your body weight off your hands from the bar is very high. And that means you're going to get really high level development in strength in your connective tissue, time under tension, which is what you need so your arms do not break when someone is forcibly trying to extend them, etc. So I think what is probably not factored into is when someone says, oh, I can't do those, they're too hard, I'm not going to do it. You are missing out on a lot of injury prevention, not just getting real jacked and being real strong on the mat.
Absolutely.
And so how would you, Joe, get someone comes to you, a grappler says, man, I can't do pull-ups for shit. What do you do? Where do you get them started?
So you made that point earlier about like Goggins getting chin over bar.
Yes.
Versus our standard of like trying to get the
Chest
bar to your chest.
Yes.
Right. So what we're looking at there for you listening is like two very different ranges of motion. Chin just over the bar is like quite a shallow pull, whereas pulling that bar all the way down to your chest implies that your shoulder blades are retracting and your elbows are flexing to a point where there's actually it's almost double the movement.
Yeah.
Right. So for someone who's coming in, like you asked, I want to find a variation that allows them to execute full range of motion.
Yep.
For, some repetitions, 5 to 10, let's say. Now, if that person can't yet do a pull-up or a chin-up, then we obviously can't use that. We're going to use a ring row or something like that. Maybe it's a combination of ring rows because they're a nice body weight variation. They're kind of, building that thing, and maybe some kettlebell rows, dumbbell rows, anything.
Definitely.
But really prioritizing full range of motion, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think the great thing about rings is it's pretty easy to make it easier and make it harder, because you can bring the rings up a bit higher, so gravity's not affecting you as much, or you can bring the rings lower and elevate the feet. It's very simple for you to not add weight, but just change the kind of leverage or mechanical advantage to make it really bloody hard.
Yeah.
And we were actually saying the other day how hard a horizontal ring row is. So that's where your feet,
It's as hard as a chin-up.
pretty much.
Yeah,
it's because here's the thing, if it's pretty demanding to be able to have to pull from overhead all the way down, but if that's not even on in the discussion, you have to develop your horizontal pulling, at least getting the scaps working. And so, Joe, we have a video, or when I say we, I mean you shot this video, which is the key to improving the pull-up. And you were talking about scaps.
Yeah.
Can you give people a little bit of insight into like how that works or how they can change what they're doing when they're pulling there. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to share a secret with you. This is my secret little baggie. Oh yeah, sodi. So in this awesome little bag is 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 210 milligrams of potassium, and 70 milligrams of magnesium. Now, the sodium in here is Australian lake salt. And the thing which a lot of people don't realize, now I'm going to mix it up right now. I do this every day, sometimes twice a day. Is they're not hydrated. And if you're thirsty after warm-up when you're at jiu-jitsu, you're not hydrated. So just drinking water is not good enough. I'm going to give that a little stir. I have 600 mils of water here. Some of you might like 500, depending on how salty you like it. And there's a good amount of salt here. Just drinking water, you're going to pass that. You're going to sweat that. Ooh, delicious. And the flavors are awesome. I really like this one. So for me, when I'm having this, 600 mils is the right amount. I really like it. It's not too strong, but I know that it's making the difference in me keeping the water where it needs to be, which is in my muscles, in my bloodstream. And if you want to roll better, staying hydrated is absolutely key. If you go to sodi.com.au, sodi.com.au, that's SODII, and use the code Bulletproof15, you can get 15% off your order with Sodi. Stay hydrated, friends.
Yeah, so most people tend to not think about what their shoulder blades are doing when they're performing any kind of upper body strength drill, right?
Yeah.
And this is, you probably hear us kind of allude to this in other things we say, but the standard generally of bodyweight strength training is pretty low in fitness. So you look at people doing push-ups in a warm-up at jiu-jitsu or people doing chin-ups at the park. From our point of view, they're usually shit. And what makes them shit is that there is little awareness paid towards the actual positioning of the body. Now, when we're doing pull-ups, our shoulder blades or scapula, which you would know because anytime you try and hit an omoplata or fucking figure four, that's what you're attacking. But the shoulder blades are integral to that movement, right? So if I'm pulling, there's my elbow's moving. I'm going to be bending at my elbow, but I'm also going to be pulling my shoulder blades down and together. Retraction, right? So for the standard human who doesn't think about that and they're just like, I'm doing chin-ups, and they jump up to the bar and they pull and get their chin over the bar. For those people, all they're thinking about is bending the elbow with no attention paid to the shoulder blades. Now what happens there is that, yeah, you're going to get strong. Like it's going to, you know, you're going to get strong arms and it's going to hit the bicep and you're going to even build some back. But you're neglecting to actually build the largest machine in that movement, which is the shoulder blades and all of the muscles around it.
Yeah.
So again, when we look at someone with impressive back development, you're like, they have strong musculature all around and inside the shoulder blade. Now, obviously in a sport like ours where people are trying to break your shoulder blade, it makes sense. Oh, wow, like if that can be strong, I'm going to be like more injury proof.
Yeah, you're armoring that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the key concept there is that you have to be able to go from your hanging position to then pulling your shoulder blades down and back before you pull with the arms.
Yeah.
Right? And once you get a smooth pull up, it all happens together.
Yes.
But we really try and overemphasize that for beginners because we're trying to teach people how to use the shoulder blade, how to engage that first, and then pull with the arms. And when you do that and you have you build that level of strength, all of a sudden you're like, I can get my chest to the bar now.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm pulling with everything rather than just pulling my elbows down and hoping for the best.
Yeah, and that specific piece of coordination is quite an unlock for a lot of people. I've seen that. And the other thing I'd say is when you get too kind of elbow, wrist dominant with your pulls, you get sore elbows.
Yeah.
You know, whether you're doing rings or you're doing bar work, like you see people always want to do a muscle up, right? And I've been that guy. I saw muscle ups and I was like, shit, that's cool. That's what's up. And just not really knowing how to do it. Just like, tricep extensions. I got up
one at a time.
Yeah. I actually never did that. but
did a few of those.
But definitely caused a lot of stress to my elbows because I wasn't using my back properly.
Yeah.
So there is some things to avoid when you're trying to get better at chin-ups or pull-ups. And what I would say is when people first start, the easiest way for people to start is more of a chin-up, is the supinated grip. And if you're
underhand.
if you're in a gym, sometimes you'll have an option where the grip is neutral. And so that's
Pretty
easy.
sweet.
That's easier too, right? Like you can use a bit more of the forearm, and it's a more natural position for your lats. But ideally, we have slightly varying approaches, even though we agree, I think, in principle on.
Drum roll, the conflict's coming.
Here we fucking go. Let's fucking. Are you ready for it, people? So what you may see is many people, like some people, use an assisted chin-up machine.
Yep.
I'm not a huge fan of that because I think it doesn't teach you to brace through your core, because we also we talk about kind of being able to be tight through the middle and no swinging, because what you may see is people doing kipping and people swinging around a lot, trying to generate momentum to take the stress off the upper body. That's not what we want. And I feel when people use an assisted chin-up machine, you actually totally disengage because you've got this platform helping you. You know, you're probably better off doing a lat pull down.
Yeah. I think they just kind of ruin your ability to feel what has to happen, don't they?
Yeah.
You got something pushing on your legs and it kind of just, it turns it into a whole new thing. Unless you're experienced and you know how to do it.
Sure.
Then, yeah.
But when you first get
Shift
started,
beginners.
I'm going to say, don't start with like an assisted chin-up machine.
Agreed.
And look, if you're nowhere near at doing any pull-ups, I actually think there's value to doing a lat pull down and training the position correctly to just build up some upper body strength. If you're a high calorie human like me and you've never done a single pull-up, you do want to develop some full range pulling. I think that isn't a bad place to start, but this is where the road divides. I actually think using bands as a form of assistance for pull-ups is helpful. Joe does not agree. Talk to me, Joe. Why are you against that?
No, tell me about them. Tell me why you like them.
Okay, so you probably would have said the only reason
Let's still man that.
it can be really risky. It can be really risky because you could definitely do a backflip. You get your foot caught, it springs up. So from an OH&S perspective, risky. But what I like about...
Just to describe, we're talking about you fix a band to the bar that you're holding
pull-up
on to.
bar.
You pull it down, you put
your
one foot inside.
You can go foot, some people go knee.
Right, yeah.
But the good thing with the foot is you cross it over to like lock it in so it's not going to snap up and break your nose. And then assume the position and complete your pulls.
Yep.
Now, the way that I've seen it used more recently is as a accessory movement for people who've totally fatigued themselves through normal pull-ups, and then they're using it like a drop set.
Right.
So they can get more volume in. But what I'm talking about is someone who's never done pull-ups to try and really practice the position correctly. And then what you can do is over time, as you build up your volume at a heavier band, so you might start with quite a thick band, which might have 25 kilos type strength. You can then reduce it over time. So then you're gradually building your strength and you're practicing proper technique. That's where I see it having a role, because the helpful thing is there, you can progress it or regress the assistance.
Scale it back.
So it's scalable.
Yeah.
That's what I like about the bands. What do you not like about the bands, Joe?
And look, it's an approach, right? I definitely wouldn't disagree with any of that. I'm a little bit more of a purist in this realm, so I accept that I walk that, I hold that position. But what I don't like about the bands is two things. The first is that it does a similar thing to what the assisted machine does, in that it changes the body mechanics because you've got something pushing on your feet.
Sure.
And for someone who doesn't understand, like for someone who's new, that can just kind of fuck with the sensations or the coordination development for them.
Sure.
But the bigger one is that the band actually inverts the strength curve that you go through in a pull-up. And so what I mean by that, anyone that's like, you can all kind of, I'm sure everyone can vibe with this. When you do a pull-up, like there's parts of it that are a bit easier, parts that are a bit harder. Like it varies, right? Because things are changing and different muscles are working through different stages. When you put the band on, the band is at maximum stretch at the bottom. So it makes the bottom portion easier.
Easiest.
And then it gives you basically no assistance at the top.
Yeah.
And that is just different to the strength curve when you're doing it at body weight.
Sure.
So that's really my main things. Now, I've also, we have right through Bulletproof, we've taught plenty of people to do pull-ups without bands.
Yeah, of course.
Right? So we have a system that doesn't use them. So that's really my thing. But I guess like I said, I also am like, it's a million ways to skin a cat.
Yeah. And look, I'm going to say that there are, and we're going to get into this now, there are many other ways for you to...
into it.
Oh, we getting into it. I actually was hoping that Joe would more fervently disagree, but that's fine.
I mean, you're a fuckwit, clearly.
Yes. Yes. That's what I wanted to hear.
And I don't respect you as a coach.
And you're also a fuckwit. But I kind of respect you as a coach. Kind of. But here's the thing, my friends. I'm excited.
Why's that?
We have an apparel sponsor, Parry Athletic.
Bro, George came through, messaged us on the Instagram, said he's been following our program for ages. He's getting stronger and more mobile. And he's got this cool gear company called Parry, and he wants to send us some stuff.
And he told me that his mission was to create the best pair of training shorts ever.
Yeah, he wanted something that he could lift and roll in, and that could accommodate thick, muscular thighs and hips.
And that suits us.
Speaks to us.
Also, what I like is I love the colorful design. It actually looks really cool.
I am the most colorful dude on the mats these days, hands down.
I think the thing that I've loved about it is just it feels good. It feels good. It looks good. And you, ladies and gentlemen, can get a discount when you go to checkout. If you go to parryathletics.com, put in the code bulletproof20 and you get 20% off. Oh, yeah. A lot of people just see, oh, I just need help pulling myself up and that will make my pull-up better. And no, that's actually not true. That's not enough. That's only a small piece of the puzzle. So I think... If you don't have a coach or you don't have someone to assist you, because sometimes having a spotter, just a little bit of...
Spot is optimal.
Oh, mate, it's special because they let you struggle. You get to the point of like, oh, I'm going to fail, and they give you the little 2%.
And if they know where to place their hands,
just under
they don't change the mechanics, right?
No.
The perfect spot is like just what you need at the vector that like it's like this fine-tuned kind of thing. Yeah. Say with Raylene, like she's benefited from, for the most part, practicing around us, the crew, so we can spot. But yeah, if you're training alone, you don't have that.
Yeah. And the other thing I was going to say, there's two other things which are very helpful that I feel, there's a couple, but the two major things I think are helpful that I have taken from other coaches is time under tension hanging at different points. So like chest to bar holds, 90-degree flexed hold, and then like an active hang.
Yep.
They're all hard in their own way, and we can talk a little bit about them. And then also eccentrics, which are brutal.
Yeah.
And that's why people don't do them. Like, I think eccentrics are possibly one of the most underrated part of improving your pull-up, which is where you haven't got the strength to pull yourself up, but what you do is you step up, you kind of jump up, you pull yourself into position, and then you lower yourself with control under a certain amount of time. Now, it's better if you actually have a timer, because when you're dying,
5, 4, 3, 2,
1 Mississippi 5.
Yeah,
like it's gone. You're gone.
Eccentrics are, I think they are the missing link. Eccentrics and isometrics are the missing link between like the standard like coach PT that wants to get someone to do a pull up and then being able to just do a pull up.
Yeah.
And so if you don't understand how they work, then it's like banned.
Maybe, yeah, because that's the most obvious, easiest way to unpack it.
And that's actually probably like, I think where I have a bit of a thing against the band, and this comes from having coached in my gym for so long, is that like classes, is that the band is like, hey guys, we're doing pull-ups tonight. Oh, you 5 women can't do pull-ups? Bands.
Sure.
And it's like a thing that gets done in group fitness because it's quick and it makes everyone feel like they can do it. And I used to do it back in the day, and I realized, fuck these people. And I say women because it is usually women that fight the toughest, longest battle.
Still plenty of weak men out there who can't do pull-ups.
Absolutely. And I just say that because there's men generally are gifted with more upper body strength, right?
Well, we have the advantage of testosterone, right? So that is a huge advantage in building muscle and building strength. But continue.
But I was like, it's been 12 months and these people still can't do a chin-up.
Right.
I'm like, they're doing the banded ones a couple times a week. And then as soon as I learned this bodyweight approach, eccentrics, isometrics, etc., it's like, okay, 6 months, everyone's progressing now.
Right.
So I think like, yeah, it's kind of, my view is sort of thinking about it in that realm where it gets overused.
Yep. Or here's what I'd say. So in various parts of the Bulletproof BJJ program, we have at the end for grip and core, or depending on where it is in the program, chest to bar holds. So that's where you pop up. So even if you can't do a pull up, you get up on a step, you jump up and you pull up until your chest is touching the bar. Now we start.
You hold that position.
You hold that position and you're actively pulling the bar into your chest and you're not moving. You're just holding that position. Now we start with like 3 sets of 10 and we gradually build it out to be like extended sets. Like the goal is to be able to do 5 sets of 30 seconds. That's fucking hard. I'll be honest. Like, I don't know if I could do 5 sets of 30 right now. Maybe 2 or 3, to be honest, because I have not been practicing it. And it's a very intense feeling. So if you're looking at squeeze on guillotine or squeeze on a rear naked choke, that's actually really perfect for that real tight flexion. But this does an amazing thing to develop your forearms, your biceps, your upper back in that chest to bar position. But what is even bloody harder, in my opinion, is the 90-degree flexed hang, which is also part of the program, but that's really hard to control. I find that very hard in the core because it's that midpoint in the pull-up.
And working super hard.
They gotta kick in, you know, and I actually find, because you haven't got the sensory feedback of the bar, like, am I, it's kind of hard to stay there. And then once you've kind of fatigued yourself from these variable levels of hold, just doing hanging at the end of your workout is a fantastic way to work your grip, work your shoulder, and also work your core.
Absolute. We should, for a bit of context and to give a shout out to Queen Ray Ray.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so this is a girl that's been training with us, and if you're in our community group, you see her there. She's kind of like boss lady of the community group, answers a lot of
always helpful
queries and whatnot.
Always helpful.
Yeah, she really is. But she recently, last week, she hit 5 chin-ups. Now, the thing is, and we posted about it on the group and on Instagram stuff, the thing is that, like, she's worked at that for, like, over 2 years, probably closer to 3 years. We started on that during COVID.
Wow.
And that's the reality. To go from no chin-ups or no pull-ups to 5, it takes a long time. And it takes, like, you got to be working on it every week.
Yep.
And, you know, she pretty much, like, there's probably, like, a handful of weeks that she took off because she was traveling or sick or
working
something.
Or whatever it is.
But yeah, she's been hyper consistent with it and often working on it twice a week.
Yeah.
Now, you know, we spoke about some of the benefits before, but I'm going to say that on a kind of spiritual level for folks, there's something extremely liberating about going from a place of not being able to pull your own body weight up to being able to do it.
Yeah.
It's this fundamental unlock of like athletic capacity. Like, oh my God, I could not. And now I can. And you think about it like in a practical sense, like practical sense is you're running away from a fucking, I don't know, a giant bear or an attacker, and you jump up to a branch and you have to try and get up. And this is actually like part of your answer, like to get up there versus, holy shit, I just got to hang here until I fatigue and then fall down and die. Yeah. Like, you know, you can now actually move up the tree or climb the wall to get into the festival, whatever you're trying to do. You know?
Running away from security from the festival.
Which, a note on that, pull-ups are what's going to save you, right?
Yes,
because if you're trying to climb a fence, you can't chin up.
Yeah.
You can't go under, you can only go overhead.
Our new festival season program coming out this summer.
Get your pingers, get your mates, get your shirts off, let's go.
Get your pull-ups. Let's go. I wanted to talk about Ecentrics really quick because this was really brought to my attention by Joe DeFranco, because he was like, if you're a good strength coach, I think he might have got this from Charles Poliquin, he's like, you should be able to get somebody to be able to do a chin-up in a month. And I was like, what? No pull-ups to a pull-up in a month. Now, I didn't really agree with that. And he was talking about having people doing variations of pulling strengths every other day for a month or 6 weeks. But the big thing he emphasized was time under tension through the lowering phase. That's what we mean when we say eccentric. So basically, you have more strength. It's a safety mechanism eccentrically. So even if I were to like throw Joe some huge weight, really heavy that he couldn't hold, he'd be able to lower it safely without his biceps completely snapping or his back breaking per se. So you can tap into that. Even though you may not have the strength to pull yourself up, you will have the strength to lower yourself. And basically what he was talking about is doing progressive sets of gradually more and more seconds, slower eccentric. So you're building up your time under tension. And once you could do a certain amount of sets of 10-second eccentrics, his claim was you would be able to do a single pull-up.
Yeah, right.
But while also doing other concentric pulling motions.
Yeah, general like pulling back strength stuff.
Here's the thing about eccentrics. They f***ing hurt. Like, you're going to get sore and it's intense. And that's the thing that...
They're somehow unsatisfying to train.
Oh, yeah. I'm training
just the shit part.
I'm training failing in a way, you know, and it doesn't, you don't feel very achieved by it, but it is a fantastic way to strengthen your tendons, your ligaments, and actually get your upper body stronger overall.
You know what? I think a real nice step between eccentrics and full chin-up is loaded eccentrics.
Oh.
Yeah, these are a motherfucker, but like these are used a lot. I used a lot of those, say, when I was training for one-arm chin-up.
Oh, yeah.
Which I never got to. But in terms of conditioning the tendons, because is another thing we know that a great way to condition connective tissue is through eccentric loading.
Yep.
So yeah, and I have found that some people, we go from eccentrics, but then crossing the chasm to actually get the chin up, it's like, fuck, something's
Still
missing.
not there.
So we go, hey, let's hang 5 kilos off you. We'll go back to the eccentrics for 6 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, sucks, but you get there.
Yeah. So what I'd say, and just kind of wrapping it all up, for you out there, if you've never done a pull-up or a chin-up, that's cool. There is ways for you to make inroads. Definitely starting with some horizontal pulling, whether it be ring rows or seated rows, is really good. And basically for you, it is very easy to be able to progress without any crazy machines or anything like that.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
It's pretty simple.
If you legit want to get on our process for that, sign up to the program and do standards, because our whole process, say that we use with Raylene, is there in standards. And if you follow that shit, you'll get a chin up too. Thank you, fam.